Now this is where I'm going to sacrifice my dough to the greater scheme of mixing things. The other mixer was done on one. Now you can see the difference. Look at the difference when I put this one onto one. See, it's a much more powerful mix. I mean, it's a serious. I'm not going to do that for too long because all it's doing is heating up my dough, and I don't want to do that. So just so that you can understand that some mixers are faster than others, and you need to be aware of that so that you actually can regulate your dough. It would have been a lot quicker, and I might actually have had to add a little less water into it, but I'm happy with the dough that I've got. I've got a sticky dough. I'm going to rest it, but before I rest it, I'm actually going to knead it by hand and roll it into a little bit of cornstarch onto it. If you don't have cornstarch, which most of us have, other word is maizena, you can use tapioca, but cornstarch actually adds a crispness to it and it gets absorbed into the mix. Now you see my dough is pliable, but it's actually not that sticky. It's sticky to the feel, but it's not sticky on my hands. My hands are coming out clean, and this hasn't been rolled into anything, so I'm going to shape it so that it can rest. And if you rest dough like this, it just doesn't happen. Dough is like children and dogs. They need to be trained. So if you actually put it into a nice ball and let it rest that way, or into a log, that works too, then it's easier to roll out on the next step instead of actually trying to negotiate this when it's rested and it's stiffer and all the rest of it. You see my dough's not coming away as cleanly as possible. It's getting stuck to the bench, which is a sign of too much water. So to do that, I'm going to add the cornstarch into it. I'm going to let it rest, and it's going to need a little longer baking than it normally would. So I divided my dough in two because that big clump is going to be way too big for my pie pan. I could actually divide this into three because I'm going to have quite a bit left over. But because I want a slightly thicker base on the milk tart to be able to hold it, whatever I've got left over I will add into the second batch, and then we'll divide that batch in half, so we have 2 bits of shortcrust pastry which is in the freezer. So I've taken 20 minutes and I've made 3 batches of shortcrust pastry that I can either freeze in a log, or I can actually put it into a pie pan and freeze it in the pie pan, so that when I come out, I just need to put it into the oven, bake it up, so it doesn't matter who appears at the door. I'm always prepared. I have pie pans, and shove it in the oven and we can knock up something very quickly. So we're now going to knead this. You see there's not a lot of flour on there. We're going to knead this into the flour and make it a little less sticky. You see the difference in them? This one I have rolled into the cornstarch, and this one hasn't. You can see this one is still very wet and shiny, where this one is more matte and actually is a lot easier to handle. We're going to roll the other one and we're going to rest them, and then we'll be back. My pan is 24 centimeters across, and it is 4 centimeters deep. So I need at least 24 centimeters in diameter, plus I need the extra 4 centimeters for the side. So ideally I need a 30 centimeter diameter of a pie pastry rolled out to give me enough of the edge. If your pastry won't roll out that way, it's okay. It's pastry. We stick it together. And the benefit of the gluten-free pastry is that we've developed no gluten. We have the benefit of actually being able to do these strange things that the other chefs wish we would. I'm going to roll this out to 30 centimeters, and then we are going to come back and put it in the pan. I have rolling pins. I have cake pans. But the reason I have them all different lengths and different diameters is that I can roll them different weights and I can apply different pressure. So this little one is literally for the little bits of dough. that we make. This one I find is easier for the gentler pastry, and the big one is for when we need to do something a little bit rougher and tougher. So we are going to use this one, put the other two away. Okay, so we did roll this out to 30 centimeters, but you can see it's actually it's not cooperating very well in the fact that it's not lifting the same as, and this is a sign of there's too much liquid in here. It's still usable, don't panic, we will still be able to put it into this pie. Maybe we'll do a patch up job, but we'll have a look and see how it goes. Okay, we managed to get it sort of into the pan, but you can see here it's not tucked in, there's quite a dent. So now we're actually going to manipulate it like we manipulate things, and we're actually going to lift this piece, shake it down so that it actually fits in. You can, I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it, how, maybe if I remove the flour, this piece here is not as tucked in as this piece here, and this is what I want. I want it to be tucked in, but I need this. So don't cut these off and don't lose these. We'll show you why now. Two new tools: kitchen tool, commercial tool. This is called a docker. So literally when I roll it over the dough, it's going to make holes. So we take it from there, and you see it has holes. The downside of it is you need to do this before you put your pastry in to its container, failing which forks work really well. So we're going to dock this all the way, and the reason we dock pastry, we do it with crackers and that as well, and is to stop it from bubbling. I finished docking it. You can see the difference in the docking tool and the fork. Really, a fork works really, really well. The docking tool is just a fancy tool we don't need, but I needed it because I made pizza bases and it was a large production space, so I still have it. But you see, I've also docked the side, and that is to actually stop it from rising. But I haven't done this part because that part I actually wanted to rise a bit. It's also going to break off, so stick around. We're going to put this now into the fridge. Pastry likes to be cool when it gets in the oven. So this is going to go into the fridge for probably an hour, and we're going to turn the oven on being halfway through it. Because when you heat an oven, you can either heat just the air to start with, or else you heat the whole cavity, which means you heat the casing and that actually reduces the amount of heat you lose, because you can lose 30 degrees in your oven when you actually put anything in. So that's why we always, even though we're only baking at 200 or 400, we're pushing the oven up to either 250 or to 500, so that we actually have heat to maintain it, and the oven doesn't have to warm itself up again, plus warm up the dough, plus warm up this, which then actually takes longer to bake, and it affects our end product. I've now taken my pastry and I rolled it into a log. The reason I roll it in the log is it's easier to store for me. And then I have this packet which is used for biltong or dried sausage. It's used for any sort of, it's used for meat, mainly in the meat industry I think. But I use it to store all my pastries in. The reason being is it's long, so it doesn't matter how much, and it's easy to actually put something into it, and I can then seal it. So it's labeled and it's sealed. This would work in a Ziploc bag as well. I just like it because it's skinny. Always label it, because there's no ways I'm going to remember this is shortcrust pastry when I do shortbread, and it's also done very similar to this. The date, because I operate first in, first out. But you could put it into a pie dish. I haven't put this one into a pie dish because I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And hey, shh, it's a secret. I don't have any pie dishes. Ready? Okay, I've taken my pie crust out of the oven, out of the freezer actually. You can see it's quite solid. It's not floppy at all. My temperature is on 250. I already have a baking pan in here. You take this and put it on there, and look what's happened to my oven. It's gone down to 200 degrees. So this is why I always run things so much hotter than what the recipe says, because now I can cook this for exactly 20 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to look at our mistakes. You see how this is bubbled up? It's because it wasn't tucked in. This side here, because it didn't have the overlap. Now you see with the overlap, I've got all this so that I can cut it off really nice and cleanly. This is butter based, so it's actually just breaking off. And this is because it was tucked in too tight. So now we know why we have these overlaps on our pastry.